Because of recent memory loss, dementia residents often forget what they've just eaten. So take lunch. They've had dessert, they come up for a second, then a third. You explain to them they've already had dessert, this is their third helping now, and they just won't believe you. It's very hard to convince them, and they can create quite a commotion if they believe that you are not telling them the truth. If they sense any stress in your tone of voice, trust goes out the window. That's why you need to remain calm and cool when you're explaining to them the story. And this is where the value of their primary carer comes in, who hopefully they know and will trust. So if the primary carer tells them in a calm tone that this is indeed their third dessert, so that you really can't have that because they've got, weight problems already and it's going to create even more problem, then the person will settle, because they will trust they will trust the person that they trust, and that generally is their primary carer who looks after them 5 days a week. Whereas if it's another carer who they don't know who's telling them this information, and especially if they've got a stressed tone to their voice and maybe a bit dismissive as well, they won't take it on board. You've got to be attentive, look them in the eye, be kind, and explain in a nice way, look, Sir John, you've already had a dessert, and we've actually given you a bit of extra dessert as well on top of that. So to have a third helping really, it's too much. Your system won't cope with it. You'll put on too much weight or whatever. They'll take it from their kind, caring, lovely primary carer. So this is why the primary carer is so important, because when the dementia resident trusts their primary carer, then that carer will be able to reason with them, or at least explain to them what the story is. And if there's that trust and confidence in what they're saying, the dementia resident will accept that. But if it comes from someone else and they don't have trust or confidence in them, and they can see and hear and assess that stressed, impatient tone of voice, they will just go quite off the wall, because dementia residents do not have any sympathy for busy, stressed out, hardworking staff. If you're busy, never mind, that's your problem. They want to know what they want to know, and you need to explain it to them, which makes it very difficult for staff, really, because they are so incredibly busy to calm down enough, to slow down enough, to explain in a nice way so the resident gets it, is supreme discipline. Now, in terms of forgetting what they've just eaten, this also happens for a whole meal. They've just had lunch and the resident forgets that they've had lunch, and now they say they're hungry because they haven't had lunch, even though they have, and when are they going to have their next meal? Now, if at lunchtime, commonly, the person is not hungry, no appetite, didn't eat lunch, and then it's just an hour after lunch, it's going to be another 3-4 hours to dinner. That's a long time, with only a cup of tea and a little sandwich or a piece of cake or whatever in between. So dementia residents can get really hungry between meals, especially if they haven't eaten much at the previous meal. Even though at meal times the food is ample, in between times there's very little. You can't just go to the fridge and get a snack, or to the cupboard like you would at home when you're hungry, which we all do from time to time. They have to wait till the next meal or afternoon or morning tea, and it can seem a long time when you're hungry, especially if you've forgotten that you've just eaten the meal. It seems like hours since you've eaten. So the way to get around this is to bring in snacks for your relative, say your mother. You'll know what snacks she likes. It can even be chocolate or chips or muesli bars, or better really that it doesn't have a lot of sugar and peanuts, for she doesn't choke on it. You'll have to work out what she likes, and it hasn't got too much sugar, easy access, contained in little packets, and she can have those in her walker. So when she gets hungry, she can get the packet out, rip it up and have the chips or muesli bar, whatever. And it will dampen her hunger. So helpful for those dementia residents who are considered by their relatives and have these little pack of snacks to go to. It's so helpful, especially if the mother, say your mother has a walker carrier bag, all the snacks can go in there, really helpful. Otherwise they'll be kept at the nurse's station, and the carer, primary carer, will bring out snacks every now and then. And the carers get to know when the person's hungry, so they'll just dish them out when they can see that they need it. So these are all the ways to get around the problems in dementia units, which I've written about at length in The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both on Amazon, both on my website, description below. Thank you for your looks, likes and views. I appreciate it.